Today we're gonna learn how to make the song Cabaret. It sounds like this. So I'm using Ableton. So the drum programmer for Ableton is called a drum rack. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to our folder and I'm gonna get the kick and the 2 snares to go in the beat. Now this is a nice punchy kick and it will stand by itself. The next sample we got is this snare. It's very short, it's very punchy, but the next snare is to give it more space and it's just very wide, it's got a lot of reverb in it. So together, now that we have this, we can make our drum pattern. So if you listen to the track, it's like doom, ta, doom, ta, doom. Okay, so we're gonna make that pattern here in Ableton. But when you put the second snare, you're gonna offset it a little bit. So it gives a little bit of a groove, and it's right on time with the first snare. So everything should sound like this. Perfect. Okay, second thing we're going to do, we're going to add our hi-hats. So I'm going to drag the hi-hats onto the drum rack, and if I go to my pattern, I can start drawing them. So the hi-hats are going to come in every beat like this. So we're going to duplicate the hats up until the end, and it should sound like this. But just like the snare, we're gonna get it a little bit late. When you put your hi-hats late, it gives it a nice groove and it doesn't sound so robotic. Perfect. Okay, next thing we're gonna add is the percussion. Instead of putting it in a drum rack, we're just gonna put the audio right into the timeline, so it should sound like this. Okay, next thing we're going to add is this cymbal loop. I'm going to put this on top of this. Same thing we're going to do we did with the hi-hats, we're going to put them off. If you check out the Decap sound pack, he has these very nice hits. Now I don't want the whole hi-hats because we already have hi-hats on this track, so I'm going to cut it like this. I want that last part of the hats where it goes, so it's going to sound like this. And then finally, we're going to add our bass. So I made this bass pattern here on my piano. And if we play it together with the whole beat, it sounds like this. Okay, last thing we're going to add, where is it? Okay, last thing we're going to add is the fill. Now the fill is the sound that comes right before the beat drops, and it gives a little bit more excitement and a little bit more tension before the bass comes in. So it's going to sound like this. So if you play it with the beat and you put it about this late, drop the volume down a little bit, just so the impact hits harder when it drops, it should sound like this.